This week, on the final episode of Series 2 on the Inspire podcast, I chat with Tom Bill, a former Royal Marine, current recruitment top biller and GB Triathlete. The podcast focuses on mindset. Tom talks about the advert stating 99.9% need not apply, which prompted his decision to be the 0.1%. It was this drive and determination which has seen Tom achieve so much, including top biller status at PSR. Whilst continuing to deliver stellar results at PSR, he is focused on his amateur triathlon career. Tom gives an insight into how he went from a 100 kilo social animal to an 80 kilo GB triathlete. With the right mindset, you can achieve great things. Shout out to Jack Williams, producer of the podcast, who continues to make these happen with great quality. I look forward to bringing you more guests in Series 3. Tom, thanks for joining us today.
Thanks, David.
I'm really looking forward to really delving into the mindset of not only an ex-armed forces Royal Marine,
correct,
a
yes.
top biller at PSR, and a GB triathlete.
Soon to be a GB triathlete.
Yes,
yeah. David, yeah.
So what I want to do is focus the podcast today on mindset. I really want to look into your mindset, your self-discipline, but just to frame it and add some context, could you just give us some background to your military days, how you got into it, and then an overview of your time in the military?
Yeah, no problem at all. So I was in sixth form, following on from school at the time when I joined the Marines. I was uncertain about what direction I was going to go with my career. All the guys, like my close friends, were getting excited about university, and it just didn't appeal to me going into uni and doing a course. There was nothing that really stood out to me. So I remember going to the cinema with some close friends at the time, and there was a Royal Marine advert on, and the track line was 0.1%, so 99.9% need not apply, which just appealed to me. So I remember seeing that and thinking, so I want to be that 0.1%. So I spoke to my family about it at the time, finishing up my A-levels. The only thing I was good at A-level was art. I got an A-level art, which was, I don't know what I was going to do with that. So I spoke to my family. So I went down to the Army's career office in Stoke and spoke to those guys. At the time I was like, I want to join the best. If I'm going to join the military, I want to join the best elite unit you've got. So they told me at the time that I'd be the Royal Marines. So it kind of just evolved from there, really. There was no real long-term plan to go into the Marines. So I spoke to those guys. I did my fitness test. I was into my running at the time. And then I went down to the Royal Marine Commando training centre and did my PRMC, which is the Royal Marine course, which is just hell. They literally take you in from a civilian and just try and break you down for that week. At the time I had glasses on when we were going down there. I was a skinny 17-year-old kid. Didn't really know what I was getting myself into. But something really appealed to me about that environment, really pushing yourself to the limits. I did well. I came through that course and I passed. Passed that course. I remember coming home and walking in the front door at home, limping in with bruises and battered, and my mum looking at me thinking, "You're not going in." I was like, "I am. I'm starting in 3 months' time." And she's like, "Go on, Dave, tell him he's not going in." My dad. So that's how it started. I got my start date. I joined the Royal Marines in 2009. I always had this, I remember seeing videos of Iraq when I was a little bit younger, thinking I just had this feeling inside me that I wanted to get involved in that or go and represent my country at war. And not many people can understand that, apart from the guys you're in the Royal Marines with. So yeah, I started Royal Marine Commando training in the December of 2009. And you start a 32-week basic training, which is the hardest military training you can go into from a civilian. They teach you everything from basics, so it's discipline from ironing a shirt, making a bed, polishing your shoes, all the way. 32 weeks later, you leave there as an elite soldier. You can literally go to war. So that was that journey that I went on. I did really well in commando training. There was 3 section IC, so in charge. I came out with a diamond at the end of training as well. Did really well. Went to 40 Commando from there and had a great career. I think I did 6 years all in. I did a frontline tour of Afghanistan in 2012 into 13, which stays with me now. I still think about that all the time from what we got up to out there. and did some amazing trips, Egypt, dive training, mountain training in the Alps. We worked with the US Marine Corps in America, just travelled the world, and then I spent my last year on Special Forces selection, working with trying to get into the SBS, and that was like the direction that I wanted to go. I always want to push myself to that next level, so I've become a Royal Marine, I've become a mountain leader in the Royal Marines, and then the next step for me was SBS. Spent a year doing that right at the end. Got all the way to the end of SBS training. I was the youngest on the course, and they gave me a stand-up fail. I got 2 yellow cards across that duration of training, and they wanted me to go back and start again. And then I kind of sort of was thinking, which direction do I want my life to go in? Do I really want to go into the Special Forces or go and do something different? And then I kind of left, handed my notice in to leave the Royal Marines and fell into recruitment. I got to know this guy who worked for a recruitment company who recruited military guys into recruitment companies. And then next minute I had an interview here with John and Jim. And I've been here nearly 5 years now. So that's kind of my journey and how it happened from military into PSR.
Yeah, okay. So you're just thinking back to when you went in at 17 and you'd seen that advert, which is, you know, the 0.1%, and thinking, yeah, that's me. What was that absolute mindset going into the training when you went down there? Were you thinking, I'm 100% going to pass this course? Yeah. Or was there a little bit of, actually I'm unsure? Or were you just like, this is me, I'm going to do it?
So my mindset, I was speaking to my family about it recently, there was no way I was going to fail that course.
Right, okay.
Like that was in my mind. I think along the way it was absolutely horrific. I remember 6 days in, sitting down, like crying down the phone to my family. Yeah. Because it was just they call it the shock of capture when you get there, because you get in probably 2 to 3 hours sleep per night. You're up all night ironing your shirts, ironing your bed, sleeping in a sleeping bag next to your bed because you don't want to like ruin your bed that you're sleeping in. And I remember literally on the phone to my mum and dad, like sobbing at like 1 a.m, exhausted, saying I can't do this, you know. But then once I got through those initial weeks and I started to find my feet, and I got some friends in the troop, and I was doing well, I knew nothing was ever going to stand in my way of me getting to the end of that course. I think 60 of us started. And I remember getting there, you know, like I say, I was 17, skinny, and looking around at some of these guys like bodybuilders that I was in the troop with, like life experience, coming from all these different backgrounds, people from up north, people from down south, people from South Africa, and I'm looking around thinking, I've got no chance here. But once I found my feet, I knew that nothing was going to stand in my way physically. I would never quit. I've got that mindset of, there's times when you get thrashed. I remember the endurance course and the pre-course, they do this, the determination test. So they get you down on this massive field, and you don't know how long it's going to be, but they need a certain amount of people to drop out before they can pass people. So you physically don't know how long this is going to go on for. So you have to fight each other. I remember my glasses cracking, I lost a lens, it cracked into my face. I was fighting this big Fijian guy. Press-ups, sit-ups, pull-ups, you name it. And then eventually enough people had dropped out, you know, and then they stood us there and said, guys, you've passed. And I remember then just this like feeling that came over me. I had blisters, my body was aching, and almost like welling up with like, thank God that's over. Yeah. But that's the mindset that they're trying to get from you, because they want the people that start to be guys that are going to get to the end. Yeah. But even of the 60 people that started, only 13 of us passed out as Royal Marines. So the rate of people dropping out through injury or just quitting was massive. But in my mind, I don't think anything could have stopped me passing that course, even to this day. I remember rolling my ankle, or like to the point when I thought it was broken, and just strapping it up and carrying on, and just nothing was ever going to stop me. And that's the way. Yeah. That's just what I took into that course. And you need to have that mindset. Yeah. One day at a time, just keep plodding along, tick the days off, and before you know it, 32 weeks. It feels like you're in there for years. You know, yeah. 9 months is a long time. But it's a great feeling to get to the end and get your green beret and become a Royal Marine. There's no better feeling.
Yeah, no, you should be. Yeah, I guess that emotion that came over you was probably relief of pride as well. And you'd been through. I mean, people that watch the the SAS thing on TV. You've seen those sickeners when they need people to drop out, and that's a TV show. You're in it real life.
But when you're there for real, and you're looking around thinking, I want to drop out here, but everyone else is looking pretty strong because you don't know how long it's going to go on for.
Yeah.
There's a lot of mind games with it. They'll park you up at certain checkpoints, and they're right, lads. We're halfway, but you've been going for like 10 hours. You're like, how can we be halfway? And they're like, the wagon's there. If you want to quit, get in the wagon. So then 5 people get in the wagon, and then you walk another 200 metres, and then it's the end. But they want to know that people, they won't quit. And the guys who got in the wagon, they're not the people that they want. So there's a lot of that goes on.
Yeah. Okay. And once you came out of that and came into recruitment, what transferable skills, the key transferable skills, did you bring with you? Because you were really an overnight success here. You came in, remember it well. You came in, you started doing what you were told, almost repetition, and last year you were the top perm biller in the business within been here 2-3 years.
I think three years of being here.
Yeah, which is an unbelievable achievement. So what were the key skills?
So I remember joining. The thing that appealed to me about recruitment is the more that you physically put in. In the Marines, the money's not great, but you don't join for the money. I remember being in Afghanistan and earning pennies, but the thing that appealed to me about recruitment was the more that you physically put in, the effort you put in, the more you'll get out, the more money you'll earn. And that really appealed to me. So things like drive and ambition, you bring them across from the military with you. And consistency as well, constantly doing the same thing. It's just patterns. And I think that's why today I also love triathlon as well. There's a lot of similarities actually between recruitment and triathlon. The more you put in, the more you get out. You don't have to be technically the best at it, but if you put the time in and you're consistent and you put the effort in, you'll do really well. Yeah. So they're the patterns that I kind of bought into recruitment. But it's John Berks used to say, the more calls you make, the more money you'll make. There is no hidden, there's no secret here. If you do that, and it's so true. And I think I soon realised that I wasn't the most talented on the phone. I couldn't pick up the phone, but if I did the most calls, I'd make the most money, and that was the sort of that was the way that I looked at it.
It's what do they say? Repetition is the mother of all skill, and I think that shows in recruitment. But I think also you talked about when you're in the military and you were communicating with people from north, south, different countries, different backgrounds. I think that holds you in good stead because you have the ability to get on and communicate with a wide range of people. And within construction recruitment, you're dealing with a wide range of people. So I'm sure that communication skill would have helped as well.
Yeah, massively communicating at all levels, and you gain sort of respect as well when you speak to people. I remember going on my first few visits with Sarah Jones, and she's like, "Oh, Tom." First thing she says, "Tom used to be in the Marines," and I'd be like, people do respect that, and business leaders, I can pick up the phone to people, and if they see that on your LinkedIn or whatever, they do almost give you respect straight away. But communicating at all levels, from speaking to sergeants and officers in the Royal Marines and your peers and people around you. You're communicating all the time, so bringing that across into recruitment was kind of natural for me. Picking up the phone to builders who are just blokes in my eyes. There's a lot of similarities between sergeants, officers, corporals and lads as there is as site managers, project directors. There's those sort of similarities in the construction environment. So I picked up the construction quite quickly, I thought.
Yeah, and did you again trying to just look at the similar mindset when you came into it? Within a week of coming into it, did you know you were going to be successful at it?
So there was pressure on me really, because I took a decision to leave the military, something that my family were probably a little bit against. For me, I always joined for 4 years to get the experience, to go to Afghanistan. That's what I wanted to do. And then after that, I wanted to try Special Forces. And then after taking the choice to leave, there was pressure on me. I took a pay cut to come to PSR. The money there that you could be earned was there, but I had to earn that. So there was pressure on me to do that and perform. So that was probably helped me massively. I came here having to earn that. I just got a mortgage. I needed to earn the money. So the pressure was there. I came in as a trainee as well. I wanted to prove myself. That was key.
Yeah. Okay. So moving on to the main bit of the podcast, really, which is now into your athlete career. So I remember when you first joined, actually, we went for a few runs and I thought, oh, gee, he's a bit quick. I'm not going to be able to keep up with him. And you won't mind me saying your body shape was very different then to it is now. Yeah. What drove you into the triathlon space? Yeah. Because I don't think you were, you almost stumbled upon it. You didn't say, I'm going to be a triathlete. It was, you probably saw that you were good at a few things and then merged them together to create what you are now.
Yeah, so when I joined PSR, I sort of just didn't do any exercise. I was like, I've left the military, I'm going to grow my hair long and have a little bit of this horrible goatee, put on a bit of weight. I was on the beers all the time, and I probably spent a year putting the weight on. And I was looking at photos the other day actually of me in Thailand. The lads used to call me Pad Thai Tom, but I ballooned to like 100 kilo easily, and I've slimmed right down to sort of just shy of 80 now. So I have lost a lot of weight. But in terms of triathlon, I've always liked to keep fit. I've always liked that routine, which is good for your mental health as well and your mental well-being. So keeping fit and running was always a part of something that I did. I did stumble across triathlon. Charlie Jones came around, a friend of mine, and he was on about this Ironman Stafford, and he's like, "Do you want to do it? I'll sign you up to it." And I was thinking, yeah, I could probably get around that. It seems hard, but I don't know. You're going to get around it, Charlie. You haven't even got the bike and you can't swim, and I knew I could swim the bike. So yeah, stumbled across it. Like he signed us up for it. I think I spent 6 months running, biking, swimming. And it was when I did that first race at Stafford, I realised this was a sport that I really want to get involved in. I loved it. It's literally the more effort you put in, the more you'll get out. And there's something about that I really like, similar to recruitment. So yeah, I did kind of stumble across it really.
So again, you've gone into that, you've been signed up, slightly carrying a bit of weight, and you've not gone, do you know what, I'll just get round. You've spent 6 months training because you want to do it at a good standard. You want to be that 0.1% that you talk about, and it's back to that again, isn't it? To go, do you know what, I'm going to train hard for this. And you did train particularly hard for it, trying to get very good. You were investing in equipment, you were looking at training methods, but just flicking back from 100 kilos down to sub 80 now, have you had to change your diet for that?
So I have had to change my diet in terms of cutting out the rubbishy foods as well, but in terms of the amount of exercise I'm doing, but then putting the right foods in. So I'm currently using an app, what's it called, that tracks the calories for you.
Oh right, yeah.
So I can literally log everything that I'm eating day to day. I can figure out how many calories I'm actually burning during my exercise, and then I can get a sort of close line, because I know before I was eating I'm thinking, I'm exercising, I'm doing a bike ride, so I can eat 5,000 calories.
Yeah.
But it doesn't work like that. If you're putting in more, you're going to put weight on. And even when I started to train, that was happening. So now I am keeping on top of my diet, looking at what I'm eating small and regularly, and making sure that if I don't go and do like a massive ride, and then not just eating 8,000 calories because I'm hungry, and trying to keep on top of it that way.
And have you cut alcohol out of your week?
Yeah, so I had my first glass of wine at the weekend this year.
Right, okay.
So I pretty much eliminated alcohol from my diet altogether. I found that the big heavy sessions were just counterproductive. If you're drinking heavily on the weekends, it knocks you about for 4 or 5 days, and you just don't feel yourself. So I've tried to limit the alcohol completely.
And have you? So you're very sociable. You've got a big group of friends who like to go out the weekends and drink. How have you changed your lifestyle to work in line with what you're trying to achieve now with your triathlon training? And are people respectful of that, or is it tough?
There is difficulties with that. I think because the amount of training, some weeks I'm doing 15 hours of training. So I'm like my average week, I'll swim 4 mornings a week. I'll get up at 6:30. So my evenings are literally get home from work, have my tea and go to bed. And on the weekends, I just don't feel like going out with my mates and drinking in the evenings if I'm doing a long ride or a long run. Some of my mates, a lot of my mates respect what I'm doing, and now because I've gone to the next level and I've made the GB, the age group team as well, that's helped. But you still get a hassle off your mates saying, "Come on, mate, loosen up, coming out for a drink." But I've got a few sessions sorted out for that anyway.
Yeah, I think it's. I remember watching a documentary. It was the Man United Class of '92 documentary, and one thing that always stays with me is when Gary Neville was talking about how he needed to get to the top of his game. He needed to cut out all his friendship group because they didn't understand the sacrifices needed. He didn't need the distraction, and that always stood with me. And I thought, do you know what? To be an elite athlete, you almost need to be. It's lonely, isn't it? It's really lonely. It is, because there's a lot of miles you're doing on your own, training on your own, and when people are living a normal life.
Yeah, it's a very independent. And guys, it is difficult, and you do have those issues with your mates who always want to go out, but that's decisions that I've had to make, and I still try and balance that. I see my friends, but maybe not for going out till 4 a.m. like I used to. It'll be more of a casual, like could go and go for a coffee.
Okay.
But there's a lot of sacrifice I've had to make. My missus is really supportive with food and helping me out and diet. She's there for me all the time. But in terms of being able to socialise with friends, it's difficult because I'm also tired. As an athlete, you're trying to work here and do well, which I want to do, but at the same time perform at a level which I'm satisfied with. So to balance that is difficult.
And the training schedule now then, so obviously the triathlon, three disciplines. Have you got a discipline that you have to work harder on, or are you splitting your training schedule across the three?
So I'm quite lucky in terms of me as an athlete because I'm quite balanced across the three. There's not one that. Some people are really strong runners, and then they struggle with the swimming. But for me, I'm quite balanced across all three. So my normal week will be 4 swim sessions, Monday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday mornings. I'll probably run. I'm lucky with PSR because we're out here. It's quite rural, so I'll run free lunchtime, so I can get most of my running done in work time. And then at the weekends I'll do a really long ride and then a really long run. I'm lucky at PSR as well because they give me a bit of time on a Wednesday to go and cycle, which helps adding up the time for the riding. But like I say, I'm quite a balanced athlete, so there's not one that I'm trying to push more. Over this winter, me and my coach sat down and we thought running is one that we can really try and improve. I'm not a natural runner in terms of my size, quite a big guy, but that helps me in the water with the swimming. So trying to get that speed and that high end running is something we've been working on over the winter.
Okay, so talk us through the running aspect of it, because there will be a lot of people listening to this who run. It's probably the most common one out of the 3 disciplines, cycling as well, of course. Give us an idea on how you've improved your running, probably time. Most people look at it, don't they, on the time per mile that we look at.
The amount of apps right now with Strava and Garmin, and I love running. I mean, it's the simplest discipline. You can literally just put your trainers on and go for a run, and that's the simplistic thing about running. I do just enjoy it. Some people force themselves to do it, but I generally enjoy running, and I'd encourage anyone to go for a run because you always feel great after. In terms of my running, so a lot of interval training. So like yesterday for example was interval, so 2 minutes or 5 minutes, and then like a 3-minute rest period.
What sort of intensity are you doing that 3 to 5 minutes?
So you'd need to be doing that like VO2 max really, or anaerobic, so pushing yourself to a point where you feel like you're going to pass out. So you get a nice steady warm up, probably 5 intervals, and then a nice sort of steady jog after for 3 minutes. Let your heart rate come down, and then push yourself again. And that's the way to get that high end and to really push yourself in a race and make yourself run faster. You need to run fast to be able to race fast. But there's no point just going out the door every session and just running the same pace. You need to mix that up. Your easy days have got to be easy. So like Friday lunches are normally my really easy run. So I'll run 9-10 minute miles, really slow. Even Kipchoge does that. He can run 4-minute miles, but he'll go out and do like a 10 miler at 10-minute miles, even like World Jog. They do that. So your easy days need to be really easy and your hard days hard, and nothing much in between. That's the key. And that's what people get wrong. They'll just go out and run at their race pace or whatever all the time. It's not really going to get you anywhere. You need to access that high end and the low end in order to build the consistency in the training. That's
really interesting. And is that something that you figured out, or is there something that your coach has advised you on?
Yeah, so I got put in, there's a friend of mine, John, who I swim with, and he put me in touch with my coach, Martin, probably about 18 months ago. And that was the moment, because at the time I was doing my own sort of routines, but I was just going out and doing crazy exercise, like on a Wednesday night I'd go and run a marathon, and it's like, it's completely counterproductive, because then for the next 5 days you're just ruined, and you can't train, whereas the key to triathlon is building that consistency and the stress score each week and adding to it, recovering, and so your fitness is raising but your fatigue is coming down, so when you hit race you're peaking. That's the key. But I was just doing crazy things, like I'll go and just swim 4k, or I'll go and just run a marathon I remember just doing a marathon, like a 20-mile run on the mechanic chase on a Wednesday night after work, but then not being able to move for a week because I was absolutely ruining my DOMs. So a coach for me is more about keeping me in line, giving me that consistency, and stopping me doing crazy exercise, because I've got that in me. I'll just go and cycle for like 8 hours, but it's just not going to help you at all. It's all about building gradually.
At what point did you actually go, I need that coach to take me to the next level? Because just to bring people up to speed, Tom's now GB age group triathlete, is going to be competing this year for GB, and you've gone on a real journey from Charlie knocking on your door saying signing you up for that to this in a relatively short space of time. At what point, again, your mindset kicks in that you want to be that 1%, you want to drive forward? Did you go, I now need to invest in that coach?
And I could see the results that this guy John was getting. And I had an initial conversation with Martin. He was like, this is what I can do for you. I can give you the amount of work that you'll need. I can give you the consistency, and I can break it up to help you and deliver you, basically getting me to race day in the best possible condition I can be in. And I knew myself I couldn't do that. I wouldn't be able to peak at the right time. So he's helped me with that massively. Just with which sessions to do when to test myself, when to really push yourself. So you do like build periods. So just before a race, like you'll do 4-week build periods when you really build. Then you'll go into a taper period. So you're hitting the race and you're just absolutely in peak condition. You're not fatigued, but your fitness is up here and your fatigue's down here, and your form is you're just hitting race day in perfect condition. And I knew I needed a little bit of help with that. With that consistency.
And when did you see I'm thinking about a race you did last year, which I know went really well, and was that when you thought, that's the result, I've just seen the absolute result here of your training and investing in that person to, like you say, get your fitness up, fatigue down? What was that moment? Was it that race?
It was probably at the time I knew I'd entered Ironman UK. So I'd done a half Ironman Stafford, and I was going to enter a full Ironman, and I was like, I'm going to need help with this, with the consistency and the amount of training I'm going to need help. But Martin's helped me massively. I think the coach has been awesome, but at the same time the athlete's got to be keen and willing to do the sessions. The coach can put all the sessions in all week, but if the guys aren't doing it and you've got the right personality or determination, it's not going to work out. But last year went really well. I won my last race, so Triathlon X in the Lake District, which is a half Ironman distance, rated the hardest in the world, by the way, and it was, I can vouch for that. It's a swim in Windermere Lake, so 1900 metres, then it was a 56-mile bike ride, passing 8 mountain passes, so you do Hard Knot Pass twice, east and west. You do the struggle twice, and these hills are just, I can't even explain to you how steep they were. You look at Western Bank, that's 14%, but these were 33% hills. Like the steepest metalled road in the UK. So I went up and over that twice. So much that my brakes were on coming over the other side and they weren't doing anything. That's how steep it was. And then it was a mountain half marathon as well. So I was second out the swim. Then I took first on the bike. Then this guy overtook me. And then for the first 10 mile of the run, I was in second. And then I couldn't believe my eyes. I was getting splits from people in the race. They were like, 400 metres, 300 metres. And then I saw this guy from Denmark. He'd come over to race this race. And I beat him on the last mountain and came in and won that. So that was a great experience to actually win my first race. And I want to build on that this year.
Too. I mean, that's a brilliant achievement. And I think, speaking to you after the event, you said your mountain training held you in real good stead for that one. From being a mountain leader in the Royal Marines, and to know how to navigate as well, because we had maps to get up these hills and to get to the peaks and then back down. That experience massively helped me. No, that's brilliant. To come into this season off the back of a win, on the hardest Ironman in the world is incredible. So yeah, absolutely take my hat off to you on that one. So just looking now at building into this year, then, what's your objectives?
So this year we had a look, me and my coach sat down and we targeted a few races. I used Ironman 70.3 Ireland last year as my qualification race to make the GB team. So you have to get within 8% of the winner, which I was well within. So I applied for Team GB, I think just before Christmas. And had the notification in December that I've made Team GB. So that's going to be one of my key races this year, which is Challenge Welshie in Austria. That's a half Ironman distance race. That's at the end of June. I'm also doing half Ironman Mallorca in May and half Ironman Stafford because it's the local race. It'd be nice to go back to Stafford and see how far I've come over 2 years. But my key race this year is Ironman Wales. So that's a full Ironman, and that's in September. So that'll be with a view to qualifying for the Ironman World Championships in Hawaii.
Right, okay, that'll be a nice trip.
That'll be a nice trip. I don't know if I'll be able to enjoy the beach too much, but that's the dream, and that's like the all singing, all dancing Ironman World Championships. It's got so much history, it's been going since the 80s, and that was the original Ironman. I think on Hawaii they had swimmers, bikers and runners, and they're like, let's see who's the fittest person, who's the Ironman on Hawaii. So they did a 2.4 mile swim, the 112 mile bike ride and the marathon. I think 9 people turned up on the morning, and then I don't know who the winner was, but he was named the Ironman, and that's where the brand was born. So it's a prestigious race, and they have the Ironman World Championship every year in Hawaii.
Wow, okay, that's a good story. So just thinking now then about obviously you've got your objectives for this year, and I'd just like to add some context, because we were talking just before we did this about, I was questioning you about the elite GB squad, and I think you're an elite amateur, I would say. Just give people add some context to when you raced the Brownlees this year. So they're just absolutely unbelievable, these guys who are racing at the elite level. So I did Ireland 70.3 last year in 5 hours, which is a decent time. I qualified for Team GB and I was happy with that. But Alistair did it in like 4:02. So he beat me by over about an hour, which is just absolutely incredible to be able to do that over that distance. And so I think as I started the run, he was literally finishing, which is just, I don't physically know how he does it, and I think I'm going as fast as I possibly can. But it's possible, because if I look back at what I was like on my first Ironman, Stafford, compared to that, I've knocked off 40-50 minutes.
So
you can get there.
I'm not saying I'm going to get to Alistair Brownlee's level, but
no, but you can.
I've got my.
You've got the 8%, haven't you? You've got the 8% that you have to be within. And speaking out there, you went. It's achievable.
So if I came within 8% of the winner of Mallorca and Stafford, I could apply for a pro license and become a pro triathlete. But even that pro field is so many different levels in there. You've got the pros, and then there's that 0.1%. There's the Johnny Brownlee. They're just unbelievable athletes.
How well do you think you can do in the Stafford one?
So my aim for Stafford is to win my age group.
Right, okay.
So with Ironman and triathlon racing, it's all age group specific, because that's how they split it up. So 18 to 24, 25 to 29, which is my age group, and then so on. It goes all the way up. You see guys, I think the oldest guy who finished Hawaii this year was 79 years of age, which is just, he won his age group. He's the only one who turned up. But my aim is to compete at the age group level, to win my age group. That would be a dream at my local race. Whereas last year, I think I came the first year I did it, I think I came 50th for my age group. But I know I can shave 40 minutes off that time, definitely. From the journey I've made over the past couple of years.
Well, just on that journey, you've done an awful lot in a relatively short space of time in your life. Your age you are and everything you've done. What would you say is your biggest personal and professional achievement?
That's a tough question, that day.
It is, considering everything you've done. It's going to be, you're going to have to think, and you may not have even considered everything you do, because your mindset is day to day, isn't it? You're always trying to get better.
There'll be a few things. In terms of professional or working wise, the first one I've been passing out as a Royal Marine.
Yeah.
That's a moment that will stay with me forever, and once a Marine, always a Marine, and that's, no one can take that away. Going to Afghanistan, frontline tour, and being point man of that patrol as well, is something that will stay with me. That's something I'm really proud of.
Yeah.
And then coming into PSR, and I remember in the interview with John and Jim, they were like, this is the leaderboard, you want to get yourself up there, get yourself top biller. And doing that after 3 years again was something that's just awesome, and I want to get that again. I don't think it's going to happen this year, I'm not too far away, but next year I've got my eyes on that, definitely.
Yeah, good.
And then winning my first triathlon as well, that was a good feeling.
I was going to say, that's got to be up there, hasn't it?
Yeah, massively.
Yeah, I mean, this podcast is all about inspiring. We have a tagline which is inspiring ordinary people to achieve great things. And I think anyone listening to this who might not be in great physical condition, but and this is a question I wanted to ask you.
Yeah.
How much is physical ability versus mindset? What's the difference? Do you think if you've got the mindset you can get there physically, or do you need a bit of both?
You've got to have you've got to have the physical side of it, but there's nothing stopping anyone.
Yeah.
If you have the consistency and the right mindset to achieve, you can do anything, and you see that in triathlon. Like I was showing my mates the photo of me the other day, when I was 100 kilos, and we're comparing it to Tyson Fury's weight loss.
Yeah.
There's not much in it, and what he's done is absolutely incredible, and then you look at the photos of what I've done. But if you get something in your mind, I find him really inspiring, Tyson.
Yeah.
But if you get that in your mind and you want to achieve something, I honestly think anything is possible.
Yeah.
As long as you say to yourself you're not going to fail and you're going to do it, and you keep getting out of bed in the morning at 6:30 in the morning to go swimming. Every morning that alarm goes off, I don't want to go get in that pool. But the smug feeling after when I'm driving to work and I'm thinking, I've already smashed the swim set this morning.
Yeah.
The competition haven't done that, or people at work haven't done that. That gives me satisfaction.
It gave me satisfaction this morning when I was already out running and you drove past me.
Yeah.
I just beat you out this morning.
It
did, yeah.
But yeah, I honestly think anything is possible, but people just write themselves off. I speak to people in the office, if you just did this little bit of running each week, this is what you could achieve. But New Year's resolutions, they start and then it just gets thrown out the window.
Yeah, of course.
You've got to have the mindset, and they are linked, and you need to often look with injuries, but anything is honestly achievable.
Yeah,
and as long with the mindset, 100%.
Okay, and just finishing up now, Tom, and I think it's been incredible, really. One of the questions we started to ask at the end of the podcast is around teams and leaders. I've got a feeling of what you may say here. When you think of a team performing at the top of its game, who comes to mind for you? It doesn't necessarily need to be sport. It could be any team in any walk of life. Who do you think of a high performing team?
I want to say the Wolves.
Good though in a minute.
No, some of the teams that I've worked with in my military days were just absolutely incredible. I joined a troop, 40 Commando Royal Marines reconnaissance troop, and some of the soldiers in there were just the most professional people, but good guys, like genuine people. But you could tell that if you went to war with these guys, you'd want them next to you.
Yeah.
And in reconnaissance teams, you work in small teams, like teams of 4. So you need to be looking at the guy next to you to get you out of trouble. So one guy would be the medic, one guy would be on the comms, one guy would be the IC. But some people I've met in the military have just been absolutely incredible. There's one guy that I work closely with on SBS selection. He'll be badged in the SAS now, but he was just incredible, robust, fit, intelligent, the way he spoke, the way he communicates to people, and that was just absolutely incredible.
Yeah, you see, you've obviously seen a lot in terms of leaders and leaders of teams and people that may lead by example. Have you got anybody in your life at the minute that you look to as sort of a mentor or a leader that you're gleaning stuff from and learning from?
There's people at PSR that I look up to in terms of what they've achieved. I don't know about names. I want to say Sanders, to be fair.
Yeah.
For what he's achieved with his business is pretty incredible. That's Jim Sanders. From taking it from literally, because I listened to his podcast the other day, and from taking it from he's literally an office at home with his mum to the business it is today is pretty outstanding. The way he's done that and the mindset that he's got as well, that he's just never happy with what he's achieved and he always wants to go to that next level. So there's some similarities there with his mindset.
Yeah, good. All right, Tom. Well, I appreciate your time. We said last week when we did the interview with Anthony, we could do a part two. I feel like we could probably do a part two, and people listening will probably be thinking, Dave, why don't you ask him more about his military days? Why don't you ask him more about routines and habits? And we could go on, but again, just emphasising, what can be achieved with the right mindset, getting into routines and habits, consistency, and the overriding message here is if you've got the mindset and you want to just keep doing things consistently well, you can achieve anything you want. So I hope you've enjoyed it. Tom, thanks very much.
Thanks, David. Thank you very much.
Cheers.
Cheers. Thank you.